Okay, my friend, another thing you must do to be successful in life is to be able to conquer your own limitation, overcome that thing will block you. When I hear this, for the first time, I was like, oh, how can I do that? And myself, I have some limitation. Back then, I used to be so afraid of gun. I didn't want to have gun. I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to touch gun. I was so afraid. I remember years ago, I purchased a car from this guy, and I met him, and we exchanged the money with car, and he forgot his gun in my car, and I drove way back to sitting here, and put the car in the garage, open, and that was gone by the driver's seat, by the next to the driver seat. I was like, oh my God! I called him. I was so afraid, and I asked him to come and pick it up. I didn't even want to touch the gun. That's how I was afraid, and I was just blocked. And I would say, you know what? If I let this thing, conquer me, other stuff can do the same thing. So I went to the range. I went and purchased gun, and one gun. I remember the day I purchased my first gun, and I didn't even want to touch it, and I was shaking, and I finally grabbed it, and I didn't know how to. I kept the gun for probably about 2 years and never buy even a bullet for it. I just have the gun, and you know, years later, I went to the range with my buddy, Dr. John, and we went and actually shoot. I shoot one time, two, three times. I was like, man, I felt good. Why? Because I overcame that limitation. Now I could keep my gun on me, keep in the office, and I went back and buy more. Guess what happened? The limitation was not the fear I attributed to the gun, but I was the one who put that barrier in my life. The gun was not a problem. I was the problem. So after I shoot that gun a few times, I felt so good. Now I go to the range almost every other week. And, I have a collection of guns. I enjoy it. What am I saying? Whatever fear you have, you can overcome that limitation. You can face the fear. The fear is that thing which stopping you. And if you let the thing stopping you, you will never be successful. The law of success is the way you do one thing, that's the way you do everything. So if you let that, the fear of gun, the fear of snake, the fear of, of making decision, the fear of, start that business, the fear of confronting somebody who actually do you wrong, the fear of whatever fear it is, if you don't overcome that, you never move to that high place. Maybe somebody traumatized you in the past. Confront that. Remember, the way to deal with fear or your limitation is to face it. Is to face it. I love this history in the Bible when David, the Goliath, the giant Philistine, was facing the people of the people of God. David, because the guy faced lion, the guy faced other strong animal. He said, who's this guy that is troubling the people of God? He was ready to face him. Not because he was so strong, because he learned how to conquer his limitation from small stuff. So if you want to be successful, start prepare yourself with small stuff. That can be something your heart will bother you all the time. And you never want to talk about it because you don't want to make a big standard. When you do that, you create a limitation in your life. Face it, confront it, get clarity from it. And you'll see the change in your life. Remember, the way you do one thing, that's how you do everything in your life. Don't say, no, this is just a small matter. No. Some of you have been thinking about starting a business for a long time, but you are afraid to lose the little 50,000 you have in your hand. But if you face it, go out and start it, you'll be shocked with the reward. Some of you have been thinking about expanding the business, but the question is, you always ask yourself, how if I lose? In order to overcome the limitation, you must face your fear. See you around.